Apigenin, the compound in chamomile that's supposedly what makes it calming. Here's something that should be impossible, though. In a living chamomile flower, Apigenin barely exists. It forms after the plant is already cut. Today, we find out what that actually means for the sleep supplement millions of people are now taking because of it. Welcome to Ingredient Verdict, where we examine one ingredient at a time. No hype, just the evidence. Apigenin has exploded in popularity recently, largely thanks to podcasters and biohackers, including some very high-profile ones, recommending it as a natural sleep aid. And later in this video, we'll get to why the human evidence behind that recommendation is much thinner than the hype suggests. Quick note before we start, this video is for informational purposes only and does not constitute medical advice. Always consult your healthcare provider before starting any supplement, especially if you take other medications. Let's start with that opening claim, because it's genuinely counterintuitive. Apigenin is a flavonoid found in chamomile, parsley, celery, and a handful of other plants. But in a living chamomile flower, it exists mostly as a bound compound called Apigenin 7-glycoside, not as free Apigenin. Free Apigenin forms afterward, when enzymes break that glycoside down during drying, steeping, or processing. So when a product markets Apigenin from chamomile, it's technically describing a transformation that happens after harvest, not a property of the living plant itself. Why has this specific compound suddenly become so popular? A lot of the recent surge traces back to podcast recommendations, particularly from figures in the science and biohacking space who've cited Apigenin as part of a nightly supplement routine. That kind of endorsement can move an obscure flavonoid from health food store obscurity to a best-selling supplement within months, which is exactly what's happened here. The research interest existed before the hype, but the consumer demand very clearly followed the podcast mentions, not the other way around. Now for the mechanism, because this part is genuinely interesting. Apigenin binds to the same benzodiazepine site on GABA-A receptors that drugs like Valium and Xanax target, though far more weakly. GABA is the brain's primary calming neurotransmitter, and this binding is the proposed reason Apigenin might reduce anxiety and promote sleep. There's also a newer claim attached to Apigenin, focused on longevity rather than sleep. Research suggests Apigenin inhibits an enzyme called CD38, which breaks down a molecule called NAD+, a compound involved in cellular energy production that naturally declines with age. In preclinical models, inhibiting CD38 raised NAD+ levels, which is the mechanistic basis for Apigenin, now being marketed as an anti-aging compound alongside its use as a sleep aid. Both mechanisms are real and well-documented in cells and in animals. Human evidence is where the picture gets much thinner. Almost all human clinical data on Apigenin doesn't actually test isolated Apigenin. It tests chamomile extract, which contains Apigenin alongside dozens of other compounds. One trial gave patients 270 milliliters of chamomile extract twice daily for 28 days and found a trend toward better daytime functioning that didn't reach statistical significance. Another trial, using chamomile extract for depression and anxiety over 8 weeks, did find meaningful improvements. But again, that's chamomile as a whole, not Apigenin on its own. As far as we can find, no published human trial has tested isolated Apigenin, the actual supplement people are buying, against a placebo for sleep or anxiety specifically. The longevity claim is even further behind. No human trial has tested Apigenin against any aging-related outcome at all. The mechanism is plausible in both cases. The clinical proof at the specific product people are actually taking isn't there yet. There's also a practical issue worth knowing about. Bioavailability. Apigenin is poorly absorbed when taken orally. research suggests only a small fraction of an oral dose reaches the bloodstream intact. This raises a real question about whether typical supplement doses, often 50 mg, achieve meaningful levels in the brain or elsewhere in the body at all, regardless of what the mechanism suggests should happen in theory. It's worth noting that most popular sleep-focused Apigenin products are dosed well above what human chamomile trials actually used. A typical 270 mg chamomile extract dose contains only a few milligrams of actual Apigenin, far less than the 50 mg isolated doses now sold as standalone supplements. One more thing worth flagging. Apigenin inhibits an enzyme called CYP3A4, which your liver uses to break down a wide range of medications. In practical terms, this means Apigenin could interfere with how certain prescription drugs are metabolized, potentially raising or lowering their effective levels in your blood. This matters most for anyone on regular medication, even common ones. It's not a niche concern limited to rare drugs. Where does Apigenin actually show up? Chamomile tea is the most concentrated common source, followed by parsley and celery in meaningfully smaller amounts. It also appears in citrus peel and a handful of other plants, though typically in trace quantities compared to chamomile. Isolated Apigenin supplements, usually sold as 50 mg capsules, are a completely different exposure level than anything achievable through diet or tea alone, worth keeping in mind if you're comparing the natural version to the concentrated one. So here's our verdict. Apigenin is not a scam or a fraud. The receptor binding is real, the animal research is consistent, and it has a genuinely reassuring safety profile after centuries of chamomile consumption. But the specific claim being sold right now, take this isolated 50 mg capsule and sleep better, or take it nightly for longevity, is running well ahead of direct human evidence for that exact product and that exact use. If you already enjoy chamomile tea for its calming effect, that's a reasonably evidence-supported habit, even if the dose of Apigenin involved is small. If you're considering an isolated Apigenin supplement specifically for sleep, anxiety, or longevity, it's worth knowing you'd be an early adopter of something still being tested, not something already proven. And worth checking with a pharmacist first if you take other medications, given the CYP3A4 interaction. That's our verdict on Apigenin. Bottom line, the compound doesn't even fully exist until after harvest. And neither yet does the proof behind what's being sold. Read the label, not the marketing. If this was useful, subscribe. In every video we examine one ingredient. No hype, just the evidence. What ingredient would you like us to examine next? Drop it in the comments below. See you next time.